We have you well taken care of on a smooth Friday TGIF edition of the show. Hottest show on the streets, and whether you're watching this by TV, by YouTube, by computer, by iPad, by phone, by tab, it doesn't matter what device you are watching from. The point is, you are locked and loaded onto the number one source here for Crimson Tide football news, notes, alerts, entertainment, conversation. That being in my own words, with yours truly, the hype man for Bama football talk, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Very excited to have all of you tuning in to tonight's show as we're coming to you from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give us that thumbs up, give us a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best in news, notes, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. We're not only streaming you the show on YouTube, but we got you covered on all forms of social media. This includes Facebook and Twitter as well. So no excuse whatsoever for you not to be on the number one side here and talking your Crimson Tide, as we do have a lot of fun stuff to get into. How about Bama softball right now? Patrick Murphy and the ladies taking on Tennessee this evening, starting at 6:30, continuing the SEC tournament taking place at Rhodes Stadium in Tuscaloosa. Montana Fouts and Bailey Hemphill did their thing on Thursday. Alabama getting the 5-1 win over Kentucky. Fouts with 15 strikeouts and Bailey Bomb with two big flies, 2 home runs there. Crimson Tide trying to win the SEC tournament and move on to compete for its second Women's College World Series national championship since Jackie Traynor got it done for the Tide in the 2012 venue. Also, a lot of these NFL teams, or all of these pro teams for that matter, opening up rookie mini camps. So we're starting to see a few of these former Alabama guys do their thing at these mini camps. That's exciting to see. That's awesome to watch. Wishing all of these young men the best here at the next level. But I gotta shout out my man John Ivory one time in that production studio doing his thing with the smooth music there on the ones and twos. We want you as the fan base to be involved with us on the show tonight. And you can be involved by calling 205-448-1358. That is the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you guys on this evening. As always, that daily Super Chat goal, $75 daily Super Chat goal. Appreciating all of you for the love, the support, the passion, the joy that you bring us here on the show. But we'll start off tonight with this right here, and it goes to Alabama's running back room. And we've talked about this throughout the spring and so far all offseason, where you look at this room and how crowded this room is. 7 guys on the roster. Will Alabama be able to keep all 7 guys at this point? It has no choice, just being that it's kind of too late in the game to transfer. So we shall see what happens. Saban's going to rotate at least 3 guys at the minimum. There could be a 4th back rotated in there, but that remains to be seen. And while there are a lot of old heads out there that want to see Brian Robinson, have a dominant final year, especially with how he has been patient and waited his time and served behind other backs, but there's still, the majority of people that want to see some of the other guys on the roster step up. Guys like Jase McClellan get more opportunities. Guys like Roydell Williams, of whom I like seeing out there on the field myself. Guys like Trey Sanders. If this young man can stay healthy, it seems like every time he takes a couple of steps forward, boom, he gets hit by the injury bug. So hopefully Sanders can remain healthy, and then you have guys like Kyle Edwards and also Keelan Robinson. Alabama not knowing where to put him. Do we have him at running back? Do we have him at receiver? Where do we put Keelan Robinson here in this equation? He's back from opting out prior to last season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And then now you have the freshman Kamar Wheaton coming in here either the latter part of this month or the early part of next month. So it's going to be very interesting. But for right now, I'm going to pull Jase McClellan out right now. I want to single out McClellan just due to him. He's entering his sophomore year, second year out of Aledo High School in Texas, and he was a long-time pledge to the Oklahoma Sooners before flipping to the Crimson Tide late in the 2020 recruiting cycle. And this past season, we saw his speed, we saw his big play explosiveness, we saw his athleticism. At times, we saw his ability to make huge plays. And I understand he did not get just a ton of time on the field due to the coronavirus, but from what we saw of him, he was breathtaking. He was entertaining. He was something fun. He was something eye-catching. And in today's college football, and most importantly, in today's NFL, what do we want to see as fans? We like to be entertained. We want to win. We want to be dominant. Absolutely. We want to have success and bring in championships. But at the forefront of everything, sports is entertainment. Athletics is entertainment. You want to be able to have your eyeballs captivated by the person that's shooting the basketball or dunking or hitting home runs or playing tennis, playing golf, playing football. In any entity of sports, you want to be entertained. You want to be captivated. You want to have somebody that grabs your attention immediately. And Jase McClellan did that for the Crimson Tide in terms of you, the fans, when he was on the field, when he got the ball in his hands, when he was able to make plays, especially the 80-yard touchdown run he had late in the season against Arkansas during that matchup there. But in discussing McClellan right here, what's interesting is he has started this offseason training with one Brad Lester, former Auburn running back. And here's the key, here's the kicker here with this. Najee Harris was the last running back, was the first running back to train with Lester. And prior to last season, people had, some doubts, about Harris. It was, he's good, but can he be explosive enough? He's good, but can he show more athleticism? He's good, but how dominant can he be? He's good, but is he a first-round pick type of guy? There were these little hints of doubt when you discuss, Najee Harris. And at the moment he starts to work with Brad Lester, those doubts immediately get silenced, right? Because him working with Lester, he then becomes highly explosive. He becomes highly athletic. Like, he's always had the hurdling ability, the stiff arm, the spinning ability, the capability to be elusive and evasive in open space. But it was like working with Lester, it became more so of a fine-tuned skill for Harris. He was breaking 30 and 40-plus yard touchdown runs, right? He led all of college football in rushing, 1,466 yards and 26 touchdowns. He led all backs in total scores with 30. This was a guy that had multiple 100-yard games a season ago. This was somebody of whom was the Doak Walker Award winner, was a Heisman finalist, was first team All-SEC, first team unanimous All-American selection, and this was a guy that ended his career as Alabama's all-time leading rusher. And most importantly, this was a young man that was taken in the first round of this past draft, number 24 overall, by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we saw here, prior to working with Lester, Najee Harris good, but there were still question marks. There were still doubts. There were still critics out there going, he's good, but I don't know if he can be dominant. I don't know if he can be explosive. I don't know if he can take this thing and become next level. But the moment he starts working with Lester, all of those doubts, all of those criticisms, all of those naysayers, they all were silenced. They all were put to rest. They all were put to bed as the young man had a phenomenal year. So now Lester gets his hands on another Bama running back. And this time he's getting his hands on McClellan. So that the question becomes, how big will McClellan be in year two? How much will this young man be able to turn up in his sophomore season, because according to Nestor, and we're going to actually have him on the show for Monday to start next week. Want to get him on today. He's doing some training things right now, but we'll have him on Monday. But the biggest thing here is, upon McClellan coming in, Nestor's already talking about the first thing he notices from the young man is, man, he's explosive. Man, he's athletic. Man, he's fast. Man, he's got a lot of big playability. So now that the key is being able to fine-tune that in training McClellan, but not just that, probably adding a bit more power to his game, because he's got the speed and he's got the athleticism. He's got the ability to juke people in the hole and break out into open space. So now this could mean adding more power to his game, going in between the tackles and having that contact balance where he's not being tackled by one guy. He's not being brought to the ground by one guy. He's got that balance to continue to forge forward and pick up extra yards in the hole as he continues to get into the second and third levels of a defense. But folks, this is interesting. As much as people want to see Brian Robinson have success, as much as people want to see Roydell Williams have his chance, and Trey Sanders stay healthy, and Keegan Robinson get out there, and Kamar Wheaton, what can he provide? And then you got Kyle Edwards, sort of the odd man out, but he's still there. Having McClellan work with Brad Lester, to me, this is like, can he be the second running back to really sort of pop here, turn up, and have those big, big numbers that Najee Harris had a season ago? So it's going to be interesting to continue to chart the progress there of McClellan working with Lester. But folks, we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started. Upon our return, we're going to get into your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your texts, your super chats. We get to a conversation with you, the Bama fans, right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care, in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99, and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back into the action here, folks. Back into the action on a Friday TGIF edition of the show. Number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Once again, Tide Nation at 6:30 this evening on ESPN2. Alabama softball in round 2 of the SEC tournament, the semifinal, taking on Tennessee. The winner of the matchup will play in the championship game on Saturday at Rhodes Stadium in Tuscaloosa. But we're back in here to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That is the number to let your voice be heard on the show tonight, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358, as you are getting your calls in, your thoughts together. Awesome topic right now, and it goes to one Jalen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins, former Alabama wide receiver, was taken number 6 overall in this recent NFL draft. He has signed his 4-year, fully guaranteed contract. The ink has dried. The pen has been put to the paper. Waddle, 4-year deal worth $27 million, $17 million signing bonus. The average salary he is looking at is $6.7 million, and he will have a 5th-year option to boot with that. So Waddle, very excited right now today. Started off the rookie minicamp for the Miami Dolphins, and Waddle looking good out there in the minicamp, showing the subtle and sudden explosiveness, getting in and out of the breaks, making catches, making plays out there on the field. And with the Dolphins getting him, and this is huge because it allows Tua Tagovailoa to be able to stretch the field in a variety of ways. He'll be able to stretch the field vertical, going deep down the field, as Waddle can do that and running those deep post routes, goal routes, fade routes, those types of double moves. But he can also take a 5 to 10 yard dink and dunk pattern, slant pattern, drag route, out route, make a guy miss, and go off to the races for a 90 to 95 yard touchdown. So it's literally pick your poison when you talk Waddle. A phenomenal wide receiver, but also a built-in special return man. So really excited about him. Signing the contract, inking the contract there, fully guaranteed for 4 years, $27 million, $17 million signing bonus, and that average salary $6.7 million. So it's gonna be very cool here to watch him on the field and see what he does. But we're gonna actually go right now to our next break. Don't touch that dial, folks, because upon our return, we're gonna actually get into the Alabama defense is being the Alabama defense, people are sleeping on the Alabama defense, and why I feel like this year's group is about to go crazy in the upcoming season. We'll talk for defense after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters.
We're back in, folks, from the break on the number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we're now going to get into this Crimson Tide defense, and one that I feel like people are sleeping on. People are not paying much attention, or not necessarily that. People are not expecting, I'll use that word. They're not expecting big things here from this defense. If you go around and you poll individuals out there, their thoughts have become, defense is all right, but I'm more so interested in what the offense does. I'm more so concerned about what does Bill O'Brien do with Bryce Young? Does he develop him the right way? Does he mold him the right way? Does he craft him the right way? Does Bryce Young go out there and really, truly have a huge first year as a starting quarterback? What did the wide receivers look like? What does the offensive line look like? The running back room, what becomes of that area? So, more people are like, defense, that's cool and everything, but my focus is more so on what does the offense look like. And for me, true, you want to see Bill O'Brien do right by Bryce Young. You want to see O'Brien mold him, develop him, craft him, prepare him to be an elite level quarterback in the SEC, especially in his first year starting. You want to see the running back room have success. You want to see the wide receivers break out and be something special. You want to see the offensive line dominate and try to defend its crown and being a Joe Moore award-winning group. But at the same time, you can't sleep on and not expect, huge things here from this Alabama defense. And the reason why I say this is, going back to the spring, Coach Saban was very high on this group. He was very jubilant about this group all spring, talking of multiple players from this defense, including one, Jaquincy Kool-Aid-McKinstry. Now, for the first time in a while, Saban walked around the field. Saban entered press conferences. Saban was just very much so upbeat about what he's got on that side of the ball. He knows he's got a group that can be an elite group, and he expects it to be an elite group. Now, along with people not having the high expectations for the defense, we are also seeing different websites really not give the utmost respect to these Bama guys. And for me, I don't know if Pro Football Focus does this stuff off hot takes. I don't know how they do this stuff, but the last couple of graphics that this site has put out, as they're in a series, top 5 returning at each position in college football, but the last 2 defensive graphics that they've put out, it has really rubbed you, the Bama Nation, the wrong way, and also it's rubbed a couple of the Alabama players the wrong way, and it's provided fuel to the fire. It's added major motivation. I think this defense is going to go stone crazy in the upcoming season. Now, the first graphic it put out, or one of the first graphics it put out defensively, was the top 5 edge rushers returning to college football. And it did not have Will Anderson or Chris Allen named on that graphic. And upon that graphic coming out, you had fans going, okay, did Chris Allen and Will Anderson die? Did they drop off the face of the earth? You had players like DeMarco Hellams and Malachi Moore and Chris Owens saying, did Will Anderson and Chris Allen, did they go pro? Did they stop playing football? Did they just quit? Like, are they no longer a part of the NCAA? Like, you had fans and players like really going after Pro Football Focus for doing this, and this causes Allen and Anderson, they're going to be dropping quarterbacks to the ground at will in the upcoming season. Now, going back to last year, and we've talked about this, Anderson had 7 sacks a season ago, 10 and a half tackles for loss. He had, 60 quarterback pressures there. If he would have finished on a lot of those plays early on in the season, and I know he was still trying to adjust because, with COVID, the guys didn't have a spring, but if he would have finished on a lot of those plays he had early on in the season, the young man could have very easily had between 14 and 18 sacks a season ago. So to have him back, experienced, getting stronger, getting faster, and him being left off this list along with Chris Allen, who's going into his second year fully healthy. Last season, 6 sacks, 13 and a half tackles for loss, led the SEC in that regard. And both of these two being left off of this list, both of these two are going to be harassing opposing quarterbacks at will. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. When PFF dropped its top returning linebackers, just the position as a whole, linebackers for the 2021 campaign, and it left off Christian Harris. Now, Harris has double the motivation because he's been overlooked, he's been undervalued, he's been disrespected twice. Not only is he getting the disrespect from PFF, but remember at the end of last season, the SEC put out the all SEC teams. Christian Harris did not make an all-SEC team. He wasn't named first team. He wasn't named second team. He wasn't named third team. And this is despite the massive production he has as a sophomore. We are discussing a brother who put up 79 tackles, 7.5 of those for loss, 4.5 sacks, 6 quarterback pressures, had a huge interception in the college football playoff semifinal, the Rose Bowl against Notre Dame. This is also somebody that put a big hit on Justin Fields in the national championship game against Ohio State and had that brother uncomfortable. This is also the same Christian Harris that got the sack, the clinching sack off Florida's Kyle Trask in the SEC championship game, helping Alabama win 52-46, and he was not named to an All-SEC team versus Dylan Moses, who did not have the greatest season in the world, but Dylan Moses still made first-team All-SEC. So Christian Harris being disrespected by his own conference, and now being disrespected by Pro Football Focus, him not being on this list. I mean, I understand they got the young man from the Troy Trojans on here, and no disrespect to him, and they got other guys on this list, but Christian Harris, this is big motivation for C. Harris. I mean, he even responded to the tweet. He even responded to the post by sharing it on his page. If Harris did not respond to it, maybe this is not really much of a conversation. But because Harris responded to it, he knows the disrespect is high. He knows what's up. He knows what's going on. He understands the talk that's being done, not just to him, but to the defense that he is running, that he is orchestrating, and he ain't down with that. He is not down with that. So when you got PFF who leaving off Will Anderson and Chris Allen for the top 5 edge rushers, and then you got the same site leaving off Christian Harris as one of the top 5 linebackers returning to college football, and then you got the people out there not expecting Alabama's defense to be good. I understand it's a different age in college football. You got to score points. You got to score with people. You got to run with people. But at the same time, Nick Saban knows. He knows this is going to be one of the best defenses I've had here since I've been here. And he's had some great defenses since he's been here. But Saban very high on this defense. And the leaders, among the leaders of that group, Christian Harris, Will Anderson, Chris Allen, all of these three being disrespected by PFF. And then when you look at the Alabama defensive secondary, looking forward to seeing what that group does as well. But I feel like this defense is going to go crazy. It's going to go insane in the upcoming season. And something that you as fans, you guys mentioned this on Wednesday's show. If you're Pete Golding, turn everybody loose. Seeing this mess that's going on, if you're Pete Golding, turn all the horses loose. Blitz as often as you can. Create those packages, but most importantly, create different platoon packages to where you can mix and match multiple guys on the field. I mean, I want to see a package where it's Will Anderson and Chris Allen going after somebody. I want to see a package where it's Drew Sanders and Chris Braswell going after folks. I want to see a package where it's King Wakuda and other guys, just different packages where the offense doesn't have any idea what's about to hit them. It's a heat-seeking missile, and they have no earthly idea how to attack it, how to defend it, how to go about combating it. So if I was Pete Golding, that's what I'll be working on right now. But I feel like do not sleep on this defense. Do not underestimate this group, because this group knows what it's got. PFF already giving it big motivation here for the upcoming season, leaving off Will Anderson, Chris Allen, and Christian Harris. But we take a break right now on the show. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we dive into more of the talk, the dialogue, the conversation with you, the fans, after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We're back in here live, folks. Back in here from the break with number one ticket here for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate you guys checking us out here on this evening. And before we get into the call lines, or the phone lines to take your calls, call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. Got a couple of super chats to get to right now. So first and foremost, how about Cody? How about Cody Tanner? Cody Tanner, that $10 donation in the super chats, Cody Tanner. And then we got Kraft King of One. Kraft King of One, that $14.99 in the super chats. $14.99 coming from Kraft King of One. So appreciate Cody Tanner and Kraft King of One helping us out here on the show. But folks, we're getting back to the phone lines to take your calls. Call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That is the number right there to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on? Calling for Demopolis.
What's going on, my man? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. Got a question about you talking about Christian Harris. Is Christian Harris going to be the best linebacker in the SEC this year?
I think he will be. I think he is, and I think he will be. I think he saw what Dylan Moses did last year, and I feel like Christian Harris is ready to bring that swag, that sauce, that dominance to that linebacker position. I mean, he's been productive for the last 2 years, highly productive, but now he's stepping into a role where he's going to make a lot more. He's going to make a lot more of the calls. He's controlling a lot more of the defense. He's getting a lot more of the guys set. He mentioned all spring long, I'm running this thing. I'm making sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. Yes, to me, Christian Harris will be the best linebacker in the SEC. He's going to get that done. We appreciate that call right there coming in, helping us out here on the show. But I'm going to get to a quick topic right now, and that topic being Devonta Smith. We got all of these NFL teams. They're opening up rookie mini camps, including the Philadelphia Eagles, and Smith, the number 10 overall pick, to the Eagles from the University of Alabama, the 2020 Heisman Trophy winner, already doing his thing. He's already showing that skill set to drop his weight, getting in and out of the breaks, catching passes, being crisp in his routes, having the smooth, strong hands. Head coach Nick Sirianni basically said today, Smith is as good as advertised. Like we knew what we were getting when we drafted him, but day one of minicamp, we're already seeing this guy is a technician. He catches everything thrown in his direction. And I'm looking forward to seeing, what the pairing of Smith back with Jalen Hurts, what that does. Because you're going to be able to work Smitty all over the offense, putting him at X, putting him at Z, putting him in the slot, having him on kick return, punt return, should the Eagles choose to go that route as well, because he can do some dynamic things with the ball in his hands. We saw this across his 4 years playing for the Crimson Tide, but really awesome right there, seeing Devonta Smith going off there in minicamp. But we're going to actually take some time to go through a couple of your comments here, and I know I saw one in particular in the chat line talking about, seeing the list from Pro Football Focus earlier today, and the comment was basically saying, how Bama is going to be Bama at the end of the day. They're going to dominate the awards at the end of the day, and I understand that. I understand that, and I know Willie351 wrote in. You can't have every Alabama guy on these lists. These lists are political. They can be very egregious at times, and I get it. You can't have every Alabama guy on the list, but at the same time, when an Alabama guy is dominant at that position, when an Alabama guy is worthy of having that spot, you got to put the guy in there. I mean, they had Evan Neal as one of the top offensive tackles in college football, and that's a given. That's a no-brainer. We know what Evan Neal is. They also had Brian Robinson as one of the top 5 running backs in college football, and there are still some of you out there that are not sold on B-Rob being one of the top 5 backs in college football, but yet PFF has him right there. So if that site puts him right there as one of the top 5 backs, and you look at Christian Harris once again, who had massive production in the SEC, and he's coming into a role where he's going to be calling that defense, running that defense, orchestrating that defense, putting that group in situations where it can have massive production. Then you got to look at Christian Harris. You got to look at Will Anderson, who had 60-plus quarterback hurries, and he's not there. You got to have him there. But before I continue my soapbox here, we take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on, Steven? This your boy Scooby Lou from the NO, the third ward, that Magnolia, that home of the soldiers. You already know, you heard me. It's Friday, pay day, baby, you already know. Had to call in, say roll tide one time for my people down here. Just wanted to say, love the show. I'm going to see you when I see you. Holla at me, baby.
All right, we got Scuba Lou calling in here for the third ward from New Orleans, baby. We always count a good call from the boy Scoob there. Scuba Lou calling in, showing us some love here on the show. But continuing just my soapbox here, I get it. You cannot have every Alabama player on the list. You cannot pander to the Crimson Tide. I get it. But when you see a Bama player that's deserving of it, and you see the dominance of that player, you can't just sit there and look away and not put that player on. I mean, we saw the dominance of Will Anderson last year. You may not have to put Chris Allen on there, but you saw the dominance of Will Anderson. Like, you got to have that guy on there. And then Christian Harris, I mean, you got to somehow slide that guy in there. But at the end of the day, we all know when this stuff happens, it gets these players hungry. It gets Nick Saban something to talk about in the locker room. It gets the position coaches something to talk about in the locker room to have these players motivated to put their best game out there on the field. And overall, what U.S. fans want, you want these players having their best games on the field. And most importantly, you want these guys at the end of the season as national champions. So there's that right there. We take a break right now, folks, on the show. Don't touch that dial. Upon our return, we get into the top 5 toughest teams that will look to give Alabama a game. They'll look to give Alabama a competition, Alabama a competitive fight here in the upcoming season. We'll dive into that list after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
And we are back in, folks, back in from the break of a number one form, number one ticket for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Got to remind you one more time, folks, at 6:30 p.m., at 6:30 this evening on ESPN2, Alabama softball will be taking on Tennessee in the semifinal round of the SEC tournament taking place in Tuscaloosa at Rogue Stadium. Going to be awesome to check out that matchup right there. But before we get into final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. Now this means you grab you get you cop you purchase you, and 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that features all 18 championship years on the back. You head on over right now, do it right now, to TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. You click on the Championship Collection merch tab, and you get you those shirts, those hoodies, that gear today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at TDA. Also, Tide Nation, that daily Super Chat Go, $75. Daily Super Chat Go right there of $75. Appreciate the love coming from you guys. But getting to the final topic here of conversation, and it's, it's good. It's good when the SEC is good. Like, everything is good when the SEC is good. It's great when Bama has those challenges within the conference, within the SEC. It's good when Texas A&M is a good team. It's a great thing when LSU's on the up and up. It's a great thing when all of these different programs within the SEC are dominant, because when Bama plays them, it adds, another feather in the hat of the Crimson Tide. And everybody, wants to know who is going to give the Crimson Tide that challenge, who's going to give the Crimson Tide that push, who's going to give Alabama that competitive game, that competitive matchup. Even you as fans, you wonder, can we get some games where they're fun, they're competitive, they're, high drama. I mean, there are moments where, you don't want to go into a game and you're already thinking, well, Bama's going to take this, when Bama's going to dominate this, and we already know what the score going to be. We already know what the outcome going to become. You want to have those matchups where it's tough, it's competitive, it's fun, it's a challenge. So right now, I'm going to get into my top 5 toughest matchups for the Crimson Tide. These 5 teams are going to try by all that lies within them to make it tough here for Alabama in the upcoming season. And starting this off at number 5, going from 5 to 1, I got Ole Miss at number 5. The Rebels coming to Bryant-Denny this season. Lane Kiffin will make his appearance in Tuscaloosa for the first time since the 2016 season. I know it lost Elijah Moore to the NFL, very talented wide receiver, but Matt Corral is back at quarterback. Jerrion Ely is back at running back. They got some offensive pieces to really work with, and Corral at quarterback is a very confident individual. I remember I was reading an article where he talked about, we had that game last year. We should have won that game last year. Like, we were right there with Bama last year. We should have took that game last year. We let that one get away. So you already got, Matt Corral speaking with a lot of confidence. We know the lightning rod that Kiffin is. He's already, trolling Coach Saban at Alabama all over social media. So that matchup against Ole Miss, in Tuscaloosa, that's going to be a fun game. That's going to be a challenging game. Looking forward to seeing what Ole Miss does and trying to provide that competition. But they're 5 right there. Moving on down to number 4. At number 4, give me LSU. Give me the LSU Tigers. I feel like LSU, this matchup will be in Bryant-Denny, and having Miles Brennan back at quarterback for the Tigers, and also Max Johnson. They got Kayshon Boutte at wide receiver. But I feel like, when LSU is good, this is a good thing for college football. This is a good thing for the SEC, because when you beat a good LSU team, it means more than when you beat an LSU team that is struggling. And last year's Tiger bunch, not the greatest bunch in the world. So this time around, they're going to be a bit much more. They're going to have a lot more juice coming into this matchup. A lot more juice, a lot more excitement. They're going to have some playmakers on both sides of the ball. So having that matchup in Bryant-Denny, and they already feel like, the fans feel like they own Bryant-Denny since they came in here in 2019 with a hobbled Tua, and won by 5 and escaped 46-41. But LSU got that game number 4 on my list. They're going to be a lot better this season, and just beating an LSU team that's good, that's sound, that's solid, that's productive is a lot better, but brings a lot more substance to it. LSU at number 4. Number 3, give me Florida. Alabama goes down to the Swamp, goes down to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, and this is intriguing due to Emory Jones at quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. I mean, he's a Dan Mullen type of quarterback. He has the throwing ability of a Dak Prescott, the running ability of a Nick Fitzgerald. He's a solid quarterback. Damian Pierce is back at running back. They've got Trayvon Grimes back at wide receiver. Of course, losing Kyle Pitts, that hurts. Losing Kadarius Toney, that hurts. Losing Kyle Trask, that hurts. Defensively, it does bring back Jeremiah Moon at the linebacker position. So have that one circled. I feel like Florida going down with the Swamp to Gainesville for the first time since 2010. That's going to be an intriguing matchup there for Alabama. And Dan Mullen is another one of those coaches where the Florida fan base is asking him, when are we going to beat Alabama? When are we going to take down Alabama? When are you going to get your win over Nick Saban? Coach Saban comes down here. He comes to the Swamp. He comes to Gator Country. When are we going to get this win here over Coach Saban? So Florida, number 3 right there. Number 2, Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher already talking. Jimbo Fisher already running his mouth. Jimbo Fisher already speaking with confidence, saying, we gonna beat Nick Saban while he's at Alabama. And with him saying this, he's got to get it done. He has got to bring it into fruition. He has got to bring it to pass. The Aggies with the number 8 signing class on this past recruiting cycle. Texas A&M playing in Kyle Field. It has not beaten Alabama at Kyle Field since the team joined the SEC in 2012. It is winless in its last 8 tries. The last win the Aggies had was 2012 with Johnny Manziel coming to Bryant-Denny, getting the 29-24 win. There's a lot of pressure here on Jimbo Fisher because when you're down there in the Lone Star State of Texas, when you have the oil tycoons and the financial power brokers and all of these boosters that try to run and orchestrate and operate your program, they want to see production fast. They want to see results quick. They want to see what can you do and how fast and how quickly can you do it and put things together. So Fisher entering his 4th year, they want a win against Alabama. Jimbo assuring them that win. So number 2, Texas A&M. Going to be an interesting matchup right there. Number 1 for me, the Auburn Tigers. And Auburn, check this. When Auburn has had a first-year head coach in the Iron Bowl, they've been hyper-aggressive. They've been hyper-aggressive offensively when they've had a first-year head coach in the Iron Bowl. Going back to 2009, Gene Chizik, the first play they ran was a trick play reverse to Terrell Zachary, who scored on the play, and they had a built-in onside kick after the touchdown. Auburn went up 14-0 in that matchup. Yes, Alabama ultimately won the game 26-21, but Auburn came out hyperly aggressive. They were not afraid of the moment, afraid of the matchup. And then 2013, if you remember, Gus Malzahn's first year with Nick Marshall, Trey Mason, Sammy Coates, and those guys, they came out hyper-aggressive, running hurry-up offense, running no huddle, running trick plays, and of course Auburn ended up winning that game off a kick 6 there, 34-28. So this upcoming season, you bring in Brian Harsin, first year coming over from Boise State. He's blowing things up. He's doing things his way. Expect for Auburn at Jordan-Hare to be hyper-aggressive. They're going to run different plays offensively. They're going to take some shots on defense. They're at Jordan-Hare, so that's going to be a very intriguing matchup in the Iron Bowl. It's always interesting because it's a rivalry game. You throw caution to the wind. You throw records to the wind. You never know what could happen in those types of matchups. But those are just my 5 right there. Teams in the SEC that could give, or that look to give Alabama the toughest challenge. 5 Ole Miss, 4 LSU, 3 Florida, 2 Texas A&M, and 1 those Auburn Tigers. It's going to be fun to see how all of this shakes out and boils down when the fall gets into play here. But as always, Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program, the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, here we got you covered. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Got you set in stone right there. Also, folks, if you could purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you're trying to become one of the first few fans to get the print edition, to cop the new edition of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, which is coming soon, shipping soon, this is what you do. You can go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, become a subscriber today. That link in the description. Also, if you're trying to get your hands on that 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of WeOwnThe4Quarter.com. That link in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands, children. The weekend is here. Weekend in the building. But continue doing the right thing, the fun thing, the smart thing, the good thing, the legitimate thing, to not be bored. You get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself. Protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and this has been In My Own Words.